Welcome to the Trash Bowl, and for those of you who are avid watchers of YouTube and active users of Discord, some of you may notice that I am not indeed Alex or JJ. Instead, I am Aurora. Those of you who are active on Discord may know who I am and have seen me around. So the first match, I'll be casting this match instead because it's very late night in Germany, and I happen to be existing. So, what we will be doing here is we will be having, sorry, I was just putting on the overlay. But we will be having crowncooker versus Bip. Crown is a very active player, bringing out his signature hero immediately with the rogue, and Bip is bringing out the spell druid early on. Crown is a very heavy favorite in this matchup due to him being second place in both American brackets in Trash Bowl 1 and 2, and Bip being a new up-and-comer. This will be his first tournament, so this will be his debut. How will Crown and Bip place off? Crown has, if you have been in the Discord, well, many of you will know, is a legend player whose signature hero is Rogue, and is very well known for playing Rogue. Bip is also a very well known player for playing Rogue, but he also has never hit legend. The real question is, will he be able to show that he is worth legend, or will he need more practice? So right now, Crown is bringing Galakrond Rogue. Oh, as I've stated earlier, Bip is bringing Spell Druid. He's bringing the new version with Emerald Drakes. I'm not sure if he's running the full Dragon package. I don't believe he is. But Crown has decided to ban Bip's Bomb Warrior, and Bip has banned Crown's Spell Druid, which is a very interesting start. And one thing to note about Crown is he has differentiated from the typical secret package and started using the new stealth package, which has been getting a lot of traction. So right off the bat, turn 1, we saw Crown bring out the... My brain is not functioning as a rogue player, I should know this, but he has brought out the Pharaoh Cat, which is a very good strong turn 1 play. It gives him resources, gives him a card like Bone Wraith. It could also give the 4 mana or 3/2 Rush, which would also be a very good option, especially in the Spell Druid, and being able to clear multiple things. So Bip has a very slow start, which typically Spell Druid does, with only really playing about the Breath of Dreams, which gives him a little bit of extra mana. Bip has just gone into Emerald Explorer, giving him the choice of Malygos, Evasive, and Evasive Feywing. Wow, they're both called Evasive. My brain is small. But Malygos, Evasive, Draconid, and Feywing. So he takes the Draconid, which gives him a good taunt, which prevents the... As you can see, he's already got his taunt up on board. So right now, Bip is probably thinking that he needs to start taking control and start playing it slowly. Hope to burn out Crown's resources. Crown having very interesting cards in hand, with 2 invokes, his Shadow Step, both Miscreants, which is a very good hand currently, and he's got the Crunks on turn 6 to draw into Galakrond with, if he wants it or not. Bip's hand is a very strong one as well, with having Coin, a very strong draw, a lethal enabler, refresh, and obviously Bog Beam, which is an incredibly good resource the second you hit 7, being a 0-mana deal 3 damage. Bip is going to lead off with the Glowfly Swarm, which gives him a very strong board presence. So he's going to Bog Beam the 4/5. He's going to do it twice, a very interesting play by him. And to clear the 4/5, and he's going to go into Fungal Fortunes, try to find anything, hopefully not burn Ysera or the Mount Sellers or another Emerald Drake or Explorer. I don't know why they call them Drakes. I don't know. But, yeah, sorry. He's going to coin into... Is he going into the Breath of Dreams? No, he's going to Hero Power to clear the Reborn off of the 2/1. That's a very interesting play. He's taking a -1 damage, and he burnt his coin. In reality there, he did not clear any true damage off the board, but he did deny a little bit of it. So Crown is going to do a very smart play and use the Witchy Lackey onto the 2/1 just to try to get a good 5-drop, and that 5-drop isn't bad. If he keeps it at 3/6, he would have to trade the Emerald Explorer and a Glowfly, or 3 Glowflies into it to clear it properly. He's bringing the Witchy Lackey to hit the Miscreant again, making it a 1/4 into a 5/4. So much value for a single mana. Is he going for it again on the same minion, or? I think here the smart play is to go for it on the same minion. Try to get another 6 drop. Oof, and he got punished, or 5 drop, my bad. And he got really punished for it. A 5-mana 3/3 takes a massive drop. So he's gonna Shadow Step it again, go for a good 6 drop, hopefully get a taunt up, try to find some way to like prevent the board from gaining traction against him. A 6-mana 5/5 is another low roll. That is really unlucky for Crown. But can Bip find lethal early? Can we find a turn 6 lethal? With the crystal power to be able to kill the minion, and he's gonna go face. That is a very fast round for Bip. The new up-and-comer upsetting Crown immediately. This is a very interesting start. That is 1-0 for Bip, with this Spell Druid just completely steamrolling the Galakrond Rogue. That is really crazy. That it just shows how strong Spell Druid really can be if it goes unchecked. I think Spell Druid probably has its best matchup against his Rogue, and it's very good that that he got to play it out really early. Spell Druid is such a very strong deck, but if you're able to just deal with the board clears and things like that, it just loses traction very easily. But so Bips now has 1 win on his Spell Druid, and will he go for his Tempo Demon Hunter next, or his Res Priest? Demon Hunter has a very strong deck right now, and has been since its launch. As if you've been playing since Master of Outland, you will know how strong that deck's been. But Crown will he bring the Galakrond Rogue, or will he bring the Egg Warrior or Libram Paladin? And he brings the Rogue again. He really wants to get this one. It's very smart from him, considering he knows that Rogue is probably his strongest deck, if not, is probably the deck he's best with, meaning he's trying to get this win off and take the free one. So very interestingly enough, Galakrond Rogue and Tempo Demon Hunter are both classified as tempo decks, meaning for those of you who are new, they just try to get as much value from their cards as possible. And a turn 1 Battle Fiend from Bip is incredibly strong play, because if he pops the second one and goes for the hero power attacks, he has 2 2/2s on board. It seems Bip knows that this is a possibility and wants to create immediate pressure, so he coins out the second Feral Cat, giving him a second generated resource. He's got Ancestral Guardian and Generous Mummy. Typically, Generous Mummy is considered one of the lower end options because it reduces your opponent's cost by 1. And Ancestral Guardian is an okay card if you don't have a good turn 4, but he has Escaped Mana Saber, which is, of course, a very strong card. So Bip comes out with the Umberwing weapon, which allows him to summon 2 1/1s and get the extra damage in from the Battle Fiend. Interestingly enough, he is not going for to kill off one of the cats and take the trade, which is kind of interesting, considering that if he had, then he would have forced the second cat to take into him anyways. But Crown using the weapon there, killing the Battle Fiend before it gets too out of hand, and using its cat to trade into it, take its own life, and to kill off one of the 1/1s, because those 1/1s, the little 1 damage at a time, can really wear down over time, especially in these very grindy, who can outvalue who can kill who faster matchups. So Bip comes out with the Battle Mage with another 2/2 and summons the second Battle Fiend, which also becomes a 2/2 with his hero power attacking. So Bip is in a very strong position board-wise right now, but his hand is looking very small. He does have the way to freeze in case something does come out of it, and Warglaives to clear if needed. And because it's a 4 cost because of the Generous Mummy now, well, he can just play it immediately. Or he can go into Umberwing, which it looks like he's going to do. And he's going to freeze the Generous Mummy to give himself the -1 mana next turn as well. Demon Claws just because he has extra mana for the extra damage, and hits face for 7 damage actually. I forgot about the Battle Fiend for a second. And it's already looking like Bip is taking very good control of this match. But will crowncooker be able to fire back? The veteran of the Trash Bowl Tournament, he's been here since Season 1 of it, and has been in the finals for NA every single time. Will he let Bip intrude his placement at the top? Will he be able to take this tournament by storm as everyone expects him to be able to? Or will he be taken out by Bip, the new up-and-comer? This has been getting very interesting so far. Crown being very efficient with its clears, backstabbing the Battle Fiend, eviscerating the 4-3, and face tanking one of the 1-1s, my bad. He does have the the Glavebound Adept, but he's deciding to go for the Warglaives of Azzinoth instead, which will allow him to just hit face for 4. He's going to take the 3 extra damage on board instead of clearing off the Generous Mummy, because he obviously wants that +1/+1 on board, and I think he's in a strong enough position that he doesn't need to worry about it yet, because right now, in his eyes, unless Bip plays a taunt, or not Bip plays a taunt, unless Crown plays a taunt, which typically he shouldn't, unless he plays the 4/5 on board, and in which case, he can just use his Warglaive, clear it. And this is incredibly nice. That Titanic Lackey might save him the game. If he throws it on his Generous Mummy right now, Bip should have almost no way to clear this consistently, besides phase taking 5 damage multiple times. And that is not a good option for him. So we see Bip going, or Crown going for the full clear here, killing off both the 2-2 and the 1-1, meaning that Bip is now locked into what he has in hand. He has the second Warglaives of Azzinoth in his hand, which does not look to be helping him right now, considering that he has the Generous Mummy on board that he has to deal with. He's going for the extra damage. Will that push it through? He's going to be face taking 14 or 10. He's either taking 10 or 15. It looks like he is going to be just going straight face now, not trying to clear it, and that's finding lethal. Bip is off to a very strong start, this time killing on turn 6. Jeez, Bip. This is a very strong showing for him as the new kid on the block. Not even bringing out his rogue that he's so adept with, as he's shown on his ladder climb. Crown looks like he's got back to the wall with Demon Hunter and Spelldrew taking on his Galakrond rogue. Now Bip just has a spell, his Res Priest. Crown knows this. What will he bring? Typically, for those of you who don't know how Res Priest plays, it has very strong minions, such as the 2/6, which with Taunt, which will destroy a minion on death, and he has multiple ways to bring them back. Res Priest is a very control style deck that wants to punish your opponent for trying to just play into you. If you play an aggressive deck, you need to be strong aggressively. You need to be able to just live through their constant waves of clears. And Crown is still sticking to this rogue. He's very resilient with this play. There you see another example that he is playing the stealth variant instead of the secret variant. I'm not sure if that would make much of a difference right now, but you always have to wonder, if he was playing the secret variety, would that have changed the outcome? I don't think so, just because of how strong Bip's openings have been so far. Bip is going to pass turn 1, or Crown is going to pass turn 1 immediately. Bip appears to be passing his as well. Does Crown have a set turn 2 players? He's just going to press the button and pass. I mean, if he does press the button and hit face, then he does force a heal out of the opponent. He decides not to, just keep the charges, no reason to burn them. So right now, Bip has many options to go through. Ooh, Thought Steal, and he gets the Spy Mistress and the Shadow Step, meaning he has immediate access to removal and he has damage on board. That's very interesting. Crown is out here dropping the 3/1 just to set up for the next turn with the Greyheart Sage. Then he's going to attack just for the free poke damage, since he's going to Hero Power and get his weapon back anyways. Very interesting play. Breath of the Infinite Bip just doesn't want to deal with the 3/1, and just immediately clears it. So, interestingly enough, he goes for the 3/5 Mana Saber, which will make it so that he has 6 mana next turn. Ooh, Mind Flayer Karj comes down without value, I believe. Yeah, he can't target the stealth minion, so it just doesn't do anything to it. He just gets the 3/3 value. Whoa, how will Crown play into this? Does he want to go for the Greyheart draw too, or does he just want to clear it with Sealed Fates? Or who knows, maybe he just trades into it. Crown has a lot of options here, and Bip is leaving not much to be desired right now. He has a very strong hand. He has the Kronks in hand, which gives him the Galakrond the following turn. He has Rusty Raider, which allows him to just clear a minion. So Crown just appears to be going for the straw because he's very looking for an out here. Praise Growlicron on the 3/5. I've giving him a Locky in hand, and it's going to be giving him an extra mana crystal if he attacks with it. But will he attack with it is the question. He could be trying to force damage here. He could be clearing board, and it looks like he's going to be clearing the board here. He's going to be summoning the Pharaoh Cat, making him into a 1/2. He knows that the minion on board is a 3/1, so he's going to be boosting the 3/3, making it a 3/5, so that he is very awkward for him to kill. Once again, getting the generous mummy off of it does seem to be hindering him quite a lot. And there's a time rip. Time rip destroys the minion and invokes his Galacron, pushing him closer and closer to that endgame goal of just dropping the Galacron and winning. He's able to trade out the Galacron, or this time rip, kills Greyheart, which is the 3/5, and that's what he invested the Titanic Lackey into. And he kills the Mana Saber, meaning Crown will only have 6 mana to work with. Otherwise, he could pull some type of shenanigans. So he just goes for the shield, tries to get the invoke, keeps the Lackey in hand, doesn't seem to be wanting anything to do with it right now. Decides to take the extra poke damage face and just passes. Very smart plays from him, very calculated. Probably trying to just see what Bip has, also trying to force resources. There's Bip with the second invoke, invoking his Galacron to, when it's played, kill 2 minions instead of 1, which is an incredibly powerful ability. And he's at 7 mana now, so Crown has a very big decision to make. Ooh, he immediately drops the Sealed Fate into the Shield of Galacron, and it looks like he will probably use Goblin Lackey onto Titanic to trade, or he can play the Draconic Lackey to trade. Interestingly enough, he's boosting the 2/2 instead of the 1/1. If he's gonna trade, the 1/1 would realistically have the better value there. Could this have been? Oh, he wants the Titanic Lackey back. That's the problem. That is the reason why. Very interesting enough. He goes for, instead of taking the 10/10 the 10/10 Van Cleave, he decides to opt out of playing the Titanic Lackey immediately and summons the 8 mana, or the 8/8, and then making it an 8/10 and giving a taunt. So he trades off 2 attack for the taunt there, but as it stands right now, I think that he would much rather have the taunt. Especially not knowing what comes into it. Especially playing into Soul Mirror. That was an incredibly smart play from Crown right there. If he was predicting a Soul Mirror, which he probably was, that was an incredibly smart play. Crown is a very calculative player, and he probably did look through the decks to see what could threaten him at what turns. And I really do think Crown has a very good chance, but Bip has been showing off that he is a very strong player right now. Ooh, if a Draconid, Drake, or Tyrant. Tyrant clears, but Draconid is pushing taunts, and it looks like he's gonna be taking the taunt variant in the taunts. So he could properly clear here with face tanking the 4/1 and then eviscerating the Edwin, and then hitting face for 10, or hitting face for 12. Instead, he decides to opt for the trade, hit for 8 damage, and summon the 7/7, it looks like, but he also could opt out of that and go somewhere else. But it does look like he's very seriously considering it. Yep, there it is, which is a very good card. 7/7 cannot be targeted, meaning he can't just use Time Rip again like he did before to just get rid of it. He has to genuinely find an answer, either be it minion damage or minion effect, or just outright attacking it. Penance is a great card, healing Bip for 3 as well as giving him a new card to play with. Ooh, Fate Weaver in hand is active, which he's gonna go for the Whispers of Evil first to find the Cobalt Lackey. He's coining out the Shield of Galacron, which is a very interesting play here, giving him another random priest card to hand. He gets Natalie Celine, which is the perfect out to the Draconid, making it an 8 mana kill a minion 8/7, or 8/8, my bad, because it gains the health. I'm not sure how that interaction reacts, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't enjoy playing priest, and I don't enjoy playing against priest, so I mainly concede those, as you can tell by my rank. But all memes aside, he has a good answer to the 7-7, and Crown has no clue. But how does Crown want to answer this? He has a common hand, he has double Faceless Lackeys, and an Eviscerate. He has a lot to work with here. Personally, the route I would take would be Dagger, Eviscerate, Face Tank, and then just drop a Lackey. The reason Crown face tanks here is because he probably wants to keep the pressure on board with the 1-1, as well as that is a very good 2 cost. 4-3 for 2 mana. That is such a good outcome for him. That that pushes immediate pressure, and Bip is struggling to answer this, it looks like. He doesn't have much to do. It looks like he's going to Rusty Raider this. Probably going to kill the Draconid, and hope that they can't answer it in the same turn. If he really would like to, he could drop the Fate Weaver as well. Ooh, he's Shadow Stepping it to get value back to trade into another minion, probably trading into the 4-3. That is a very good play by Bet. And he is showing why he is a contender, and that people in this tournament really need to respect his ability to play this game. He's very hesitant on whether he wants to kill the 4-3 or the 1-4, because he knows that Shadow Step is always a possibility to give him more resources. And as you know, as I explained earlier, Priest just wants you to like burn all of your resources into it until you have nothing left. And by him doing that, it makes it so that he can't get those 2 extra lackeys, which could be really important for things like Draconic Lackey, things like Faceless Lackey, which give you a 4-3. Things like that. And very interesting to 3-3 or to Sealed Fate the 1-1, giving him another Lackey. There's not much he really wants to target with that Lackey besides maybe a Generous Mommy Swap. He's going to flick the 1-7. That is a very interesting play by him, but that does immediately kill something in deck as well, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on, because he could draw into his better cards now, but it also means that he no longer has the other Restied to help him. But the evolution onto the Guardian, onto the Flick, has not done too much. As Flick is a 6 mana 4-4, he is now a 7 mana 5-6. So 1 mana to give him +1/+2, which isn't that bad. +2/+3 if you consider the Lackey as an extra value, which it should be. Natalie Celine is a very interesting play here. Depends how he wants to play into this. He could Shadow Word Death this, which is what I would do, and then play the Celine to kill that. Or he could just not, but he has to respect the board in some way. There is almost no way he can just completely out this without, like, killing these 2. Because right now he represents 6 on board anyways. Interesting, he's drawing the Galakron? He decides to destroy the minion, the 5-6. Is he going to heal himself? Because I think that's game. Because he does 8, and then these 3 on board just is enough. Crown takes the first round against Bip's Res Priest. And that puts Crown back in this game. He has found maybe an oversight by Bip in the Res Priest break. Considering the meta is very aggressive and tempo based, was it the right play to bring? Or will it cost him? Crown punishing the Res Priest and just taking his first round. A very large sigh of relief must be coming from there. But yeah, Crown taking his first round win, very good from him. Now which will he bring, Egg Warrior or Libram Paladin? I am going to be honest, I haven't seen much of Libram Paladin since its launch because only version I saw was Pure. And even then, that just wasn't performing well, so that flew completely under my radar. But Egg Warrior has been making a storm in both the Masters Tours and Grandmasters currently, with boasting an incredibly high win rate and defining the meta in a way. Crown is taking very long to decide what he wants to do here, but that is probably for the better, so that he's trying, probably just taking this time, recollect his thoughts, figure out what he wants to do here. I'm going to take this opportunity to plug Beverage, the sponsor of the Trash Bowl. Are you ever just thirsty, don't know what to drink, don't really want to go, like go out and get something to drink, there's always beverage to keep you sated. But yeah. So, as I was saying earlier, Bip is known mainly for his rogue, which is a very interesting thought that he didn't bring rogue. But his lineup does seem very strong, and sadly we won't be seeing his Bomb Warrior, and we won't be seeing Crown Spell Druid. But we are hopping right back into this. So Crown has decided to bring the Libram Paladin. Clearly not the pure version, as you can see these two cards. Personally, I believe that the non-pure version is stronger overall. But this is a very nice hand. But he does want to find the 1/3, the 1 mana 1/3 that reduces all the Librams. Aldor, I think his name is. But Salhet's Pride is a very good card. There it is, Aldor's Attendant, which will reduce the cost of the Librams in the deck, and then Aldor Truth Seeker as well. And immediately Disciple of Galakron, which is a very strong start to Bip, generating a very good card and giving him a 1/2 on board. So immediate presence while giving him resources to work with. The almost obvious play for Crown is just playing the Auto Attendant. There's no reason to do anything else. And yeah, as you can see, by his mass amount of gold cards, Crown is a very active player in this game and plays at a very high level. For those of you who don't know, most people will recommend newer players to not use as many gold cards so that you can get the dust. Ooh. So Bip uses the Thought Steal to take 2 cards. He took Hand of Adal, giving me +2, which is not bad. But Aldor Truth Seeker's a 5 mana 4/6 taunt. But its battle cry is completely useless. What the heck is going on there? Breath of the Infinite is a full clear. He's just gonna leave that be and go. But he plays the Salhet's Pride, which will draw him to 1 health cost, giving him more resources to work with, and denying Bip of his game plan of just trying to draw out more and more of Crown's resources, and hopefully just be able to stall through them. The Hand of Adal onto the Sawhets is incredibly, or Sawhets, my bad, is incredibly strong here because it makes it harder to break and makes them just do 5 damage each turn, which is going to add up very quickly. Lady Liadrin is incredibly strong, as we've seen. It's already just a 7 mana 6/8, which is very good. Or not very good, but if you play the Life Forge Blessing, 7 mana 6/8 with a heal, which is very strong. So he has 2 options here. He can, yep, there he goes, trades into it, sees what he draws, McGurgle, and a Novice Engineer to draw. He could play Auto Truth Seeker, but instead he decides to play the Novice Engineer and gets the Bronze Explorer. Ooh, he's decided to play McGurgle, which is one of the new Prime cards from the Ashes of Outlands expansion, meaning that when these special cards die, they will shuffle a Prime version into the deck. So Bips are immediately drawing the Galakron, and already Crown has the Libram of Hope in hand, which is an incredibly strong card. It restores 8, summons an 8/8 Guardian with Taunt and Divine Shield, which is incredibly good. Because that means you heal 8, and then they have to do essentially 9 damage, but they have to split at least 1 damage away. So it's probably going to be a lot more than 9. Unless he has something that can trade into it, or he can just, you know, delete it with Time Rep, with Shadow Word Death, Soul Mirror, but Soul Mirror wouldn't kill unless he traded beforehand. So Crown is taking a minute to think what he wants to do into this. He can trade into this, or he can draw a card, he can Consecration into it. Very interesting that he plays the Bronze Explorer, tries to see what he can grab here. Grabs the Evasive Worm to try to, like, probably for a board clear eventually. And he decides to just go face, apply pressure to this priest, try to make Bip uncomfortable, and just try to force as much pressure as possible here. Crown is playing a masterful game here against this priest, which most people would typically just crumble against.
Let me change your
Cabal
mind.
Shadow Priest taking the Murger McGurgle is incredibly scary, because that means Murger McGurgle will most likely shuffle into the deck of Bip, which is kind of worrying for Crown here. Very interesting. He has High Priest of Met in hand, and or Galakron, and he's just glossing over it, seeing what he can play. Crown is deciding what he wants to do here, because if he Librams of Hope, then, well, he's not going to get any of the healing value of it, but he's going to trade the Thanos, just draw a card, see what happens here. And he draws a Wild Pyromancer. Very interesting indeed. So for those of you who don't know, Wild Pyromancer plus Lifeforge Blessing is actually just, it deals 1 damage to all, but it actually is a massive heal against smaller decks like Zoo. That probably won't come in during this matchup, but that's just something that if you do end up wanting to test out Crown's list and ladder or whatever you want to do with it, and then that is a very cool interaction. If you do want to come out check out any of these players' lists, their decks, what they're playing, I do recommend you to check out the Discord once again. Very active community. We talk about meta. We talk about off-topic things like we play other games. Sometimes you'll catch people posting their stream links, me, and it's just a very good community where you can come out, just talk, get help, whatever you want to do. And of course, this is all being hosted through that Discord. So please come by, check it out. It's a really good place to be. So he summons the Evasive Worm and uses it to kill the Kronk, and just leaves the 4/5 on board. But I do believe that the 6 damage was more threatening. Bip is going to immediately trade and summon the High Priest of Met. Then he's going to summon Madame Azul, which is going to discover a copy of a card in hand, which gives him so much information to work with. He now knows that there's a Libram of Hope. He knows now that she has Lady Liadrin, and he also knows that he has the Aldors. That card gives him so much to work with. Like, in his mind, he now knows that Liadrin can come online at any point, and he knows that he has at least 1 Libram of Hope here. But it also gives him a 3-mana 3/7, which is incredibly good. He's going to hand Vidal the 1-mana 3/3, meaning that he can hit the Amet and reduce the Amet's effectiveness by 3, which he does there. And he plays the Alder Truth Seeker, decreasing all the Libram cards in his deck and hand by 2, meaning that these Libram of Hopes are now 5 mana, which is a big difference when you're talking about late game heals. So Bip is just going to timer up the Alder Truth Seeker, not wanting to deal with that, just invoke his Galakron. And Galakron only needs 1 more invocation before it's maxed out. And he's going to hand Vidal the High Priest of Met here to put him back to at least 6 health, a very respectable chunk for all minions that he summons to be set to 6 health. The Libram of Wisdom draw doesn't seem to be much help here, but he could always call to Adventure, just draw something small, gives it a +2/+2. And that looks like what he's going to be doing. Novice Engineer is now a 2-mana 3/3 draw, which is a very strong play. Yep, there's Replicatatron, which is a very interesting tech in this deck, which I have not seen much, but that does seem to make at least some sort of sense. Very interesting. Giving you +1/+1 and Death Rattle out of Libram. Ah, it transforms another card, which is actually very good with Paladin, because you play that, you summon, you play your little 1/1, and that means you have a 5 or 6 mana 6/6 just outright, and on a turn. So if he doesn't clear this, then, well, it's just going to get out of hand, especially when you constantly add more and more Librams of Wisdom to your hand. So Bip is just going to use the Libram of Hope here, heal himself for 8, summon the 8/8 taunt, which will now become an 8/6 taunt, with the Amet slightly backfiring here. Psychic Conjurer, using copy a card in your opponent's deck and add it to your hand, and he gets Libram of Wisdom. Very interesting. And he gets the 8/6 on board, with Amet slightly backfiring here, but he also has a 1/6 now on board. So using Amet to trade is an interesting prospect here instead of using the 3/7. Actually no, because that's the only thing that kills there. But now anything he summons is immediately going to drop to 2 health. Will that backfire? Wait, is Crown could very reasonably keep the 4-2 alive now, knowing that anything he summons will now just drop to 2 health. If he wants to summon something big, back to 2 health. Sorry. But what does Crown want to do here? He has a lot of heal in hand. He has ways to clear board. He has Lady Liadrin, but he doesn't want to summon that because, well, if he does, then Replicatron will just turn it into a 4-4. Bip has a lot of things to do, but a lot of them just don't seem very strong. Looks like he's going to Liberum Post heal, summon the 8-8 with Taunt and Vine Shield, and then press the button, probably? Try to give as little chance to hit the 1-1 as possible. Summoning Amber Watcher, just try to reduce that. And yep, it hits the Amber Watcher instead of the 8-8 Taunt, which is the best outcome Crown could have had there. So what does he want to do here? He could always trade the Unmet in because he no longer wants the 2 health deficit, or he's going to trade the 1/6 in and take the 8 damage to kill the minion, which is also a very smart play. So Soul Mirror full clears here, but so does Galakrond, and is Galakroning before you get the Final Invoke is a very common practice with this deck, non-similar to other Galakronds, because you just want to use it to clear board, and it's an incredibly easy clear. Ooh. Apotheosis, give a minion +2/+3 lifesteal. Onto that Amet will become very big soon. And a Libram Wisdom putting him back to 6 health. This Amet is getting so much value throughout this match. And, ooh. With all these Libram of Wisdoms in hand, that burn is actually very detrimental to him. To Crown here. Mount Seller would have just filled his board with 3 costs, and he could have just made them either a really buff or he could have made it really buff. So he's thinking here if he should Wild Pyromance here to just, if he Libram of Wisdoms here 4 times, that kills him. That doesn't kill him up, but it puts it to 2. That does kill. That's going to be a lot of clears if he makes him really big here. Very interestingly enough, he actually isn't using Wayforged Blessing to heal here. And that's going to be a full clear coming in from Biff, or from Crown. That's an incredibly creative way to clear all of that. With keeping a 7-1 on board and a 1-1 on board, Bip needs to answer this somehow. How would he do that? Shadow or Death can kill it. That also isn't optimal because that just puts 4 Libram Wisdoms right back into his hand. All costing 1. And then Magrugo Prime, which is what I was talking about earlier, with the Prime cards, will summon 4 random Murlocs with Divine Shield, and giving them Murloc War Leader just makes them so strong. Is this it for Bip? Or for Crown? If he can do exactly what he did last time again with the Wild Pyromancer just full clear again, which was probably the best option here. Bip looking through his cards, deciding what he is. Bip is in a very strong position right now, with full health and 3 extra armor. But Crown, with the bigger hand, I think? That looks very similar. Yeah, he has one slightly larger, but 4 of them are known to be Libram of Wisdoms, which are both good and not good. They're very strong cards because every time he plays one of them, he's going to stack his Lady Liadrin with an extra 1. But at the same time, it also just is random cards in his hand that aren't going to do as much as, say, more like, not Life Forge Blessings, but more Libram Props. So it does appear that he's going to be going with the Libram of Wisdom route to full clear, which is very unfortunate for Bip, as Bip did seem to have an out there, or it did seem to have a way to deal with it. And he's going to get the Libram Pope off, which is going to summon the minion first and then take the 1 damage, which is unlucky that he loses that shield, but he still has an 8-8 on board, a 7-1 and a 1-1 on board that he has threatening him. Bip's Soul Mirror full clears here, but he could also Plague of Death, which would deny the extra Librams, which he has to be considering here, considering how much value he's gotten and that he knows the Lady Liadrin's in hand because of Lazul. So does he care about letting Liadrin get very strong, or does he just want to Plague of Death once Lady Liadrin comes out? It appears he is going to be going for that Soul Mirror here. Just a full clear. And just take on whatever he wants to do next. And this Liadrin is getting very large because right now, she, after the +2/+2 and just these Livroom of Wisdoms, that's been 8 of them +2 on each. That's a 7-mana 14/16. Ooh, exotic Mount Seller. Going into with the Livroom of Wisdoms, making the minions big. Decides to use it on the 2/2 to make it a 3/3, just to cover it up. It makes it 3/2 a 4/3, making this board a little bit more difficult to deal with. Now making that a 2/4 taunt, or 2/5 taunt, sorry. And he gets the second Golden Scarab, which is not so good right now. But he is able to keep putting down these lifesteals to get this board is looking very strong. And it looks like Bip is thinking of Plague of Deathing us. And it looks like he's going to have to. But that means, knowing that a Plague of Death is out of hand, Crown has to wait that... What are the odds that out of the 21 cards that he has it in hand? He doesn't even question it. He's just dropping the Liadrin. Gets so many Livroom Wisdoms back. Oh, it's add them to your hand? Oh. My brain's small. But that means that it is at least one... means that it's at least a 10 mana. Or he's just gonna split up. So it looks like he's putting 2 on each. What? 3 on each? Or no, he's keeping some in hand. Very interesting play. Keeping the Livroom Wisdoms in hand. Probably not wanting to risk too much into a Plague of Death. Yeah. So he's keeping 2 in hand. Alter Truthseeker is just a taunt that he has. Bip is on the fence right now. But what can he really do here? Galakrond's Wit gives him a Psychic Conjurer. That's not going to do much. He has 2 Livroom Wisdoms that he can throw onto the 6/8, making it kind of difficult to deal with. Thoughtsteal will add 2 copies of cards in the deck, and in the hand now he knows that the second Conjugation's in deck, and the Livroom of Justice is still in deck. But is this enough to keep it in? In reality, he could have played the Murazan there, but it is fine. He gets the 3rd Livroom of Light's Wisdom on there, and he alters Truthseeker is now 7/9, which neither of his things really want to trade into consistently. But Livroom of Justice allows Crown to face tank the 7/1, probably going to heal it back with Livroom of Hope anyways, and just clear that all, and forcing Bip to burn a card too. That's really sad. 2 cards actually if you count Livroom Wisdom. Because he's gonna burn the 3rd Livroom Wisdom, and he's gonna draw and burn. Bip immediately gets, or Crown immediately drops the Hope, healing it back to full, and dropping an 8 on board, forcing the last 2 Livroom Wisdoms onto the Lion, hitting face, hitting 8 damage, in a very strong position indeed. Also present here, Bauer get the little extra 1/1, little nice little chip in there. He burns the Rusty Old Raider, which isn't too detrimental to him, luckily enough. How does Bip back himself out of this corner? He has all the time in the world to work with, but he does actually seem to be thinking of doing Livroom of Justice back. Ooh. And he has a Consecration. This could be very big for him. Interestingly enough, he does have the Dragonmaw Sentinel instead, but it does look like he will be taking the Consecration route and then face tanking the 8, which allows him to just full clear. Crown getting all these Livroom of Wisdoms back. Jesus. 6 Livroom of Wisdoms back. But it looks like Crown's actually running out of steam here. He only has ways to answer the enemy back. And it's obvious, it has to be obvious to Bip that this is true, based off of that reinforced there. But the Livroom of Wisdom onto the hero power is just so strong. He still has 3 in hand and he only burned 3, putting it to a 4/4 for 2 mana. Crown has clearly shown that this deck can be a menace and is a very strong deck. But is it strong enough to beat Res Priest? Or should I say, is Res Priest strong enough to beat it? Because Res Priest does look to be struggling here. Getting the convincing infiltrator off of the random creation is very good. Because if he trades or tries to kill the convincing just smacks back. And he has Apotheosis, giving it more health, making it hard to deal with, and healing him for 4 if they attack into it. I'll make it 5, make it 6. Bip is going to be at very, or actually, he's boosting the 1-2 into a 2-3 and just assign a strike face. This is a very, very rough spot for Crown to be in, with only 1 card left in deck and only 3 or 4 Libram Wisdoms in hand. Libram of Justice into Consecration does look kind of good here. He's hoping to get the 50-50 roll on the Convincing Infiltrator to hit the 1-1 and not the 4-4. But what does it hit? It hits the 4-4. That is truly unlucky for Crown. This could be it. But he does have Libram of Wisdoms that he can put onto the 1-1. And a bunch of them at that. This has to be his final stand here. Trying to force him out. But he doesn't actually commit all of them. He only commits 3, I believe that is. Which is very, very interesting. Keeping at 4 to avoid getting any of the spells, which is very smart. Because if you don't know, Priest actually has spells to deal with 3 and below and 5 and above. If the minion sits at 4, they can't use spells to clear it, typically. But it does look like Bip has a lot of answers here, considering his own Aurora made his Librams free as well. Fate Weaver is going to reduce all the cost of cards in his hand by 1. That's actually kind of strong. But he decides against it. What is he thinking right now? He's thinking of time ripping it? Nope, he goes for the Fate Weaver here. Going for a lot of immediate value. A 2-4 getting its value off of his Murazon in hand. And eating a shadowy figure. Death Rattle Minion. Turn into a 2-2 copy of friendly Death Rattle Minion. Does not seem to be very strong right now. Apotheosis giving his Fate Weaver +2/+3 and a heal. His last card is Alter Truth Seeker. Is this enough to push lethal? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With a heal, that puts him to 24. Crown can race this if he really wanted to. Or he can try. But is there any real way that Crown can win this? Bip just seems to have such an upper hand here with Murazon in hand. The Tauntaun board may not even be enough. He can't boost anymore in fear of the Shadow Words. Instead, he opts to boost the 5-5 into a 6-6, or 4-4 into a 6-6, my bad, and clear the 4-6, giving Bip back both Librams, which are, of course, for free due to his own Aurora. Very interesting. He goes for the poke for face, trying to hope to race him here. Very smart to keep the 4-6 out of 4 mana to avoid getting time ripped, or not time ripped, to avoid getting Shadow Word Death or ruined. Double or Libram of Wisdom, sorry, onto the second one. He's just trying to get as much numbers on there as possible. Hope that Bip cannot answer it, but it appears that Bip can. Oh dear. Libram of Wisdom onto the 5-9, making the 6-10. Full trading into the 4-6, healing him for 6. Apotheosis onto the 5-8, making it a heal 7. Galakrond's Way adding another random priest card to hand, giving him a free invocation. And off of the 1 mana 1-2, but he decides not to use it. Actually, yeah, does he use it? I think he does, yes. What does that create? It creates a Chrono Breaker, which can full clear his 3-3 there. But that also forces him to attack into this and take 4. And he's going to heal 4 here. It does look like Bip has just won the series. Unless Crown can get really creative here. Of course, Crown being the diligent player he is just going to wait it out, play it, try to win. But this does end up looking like it's going to go the way of Bip. With the 2 heals on board, and the Murazon in hand to just replicate all of it. It doesn't look like much can be done here. Dropping the other Librams onto this. Crown is making a last-ditch effort to try to win this out. But Bip's Res Priest proving to be very strong here. With Crown conceding, that is it. That is game. 3-1 to Bip. That is incredible. Bip has done amazingly, and this is an amazing first showing for him. Well done. GG's to both of them. And if you guys would like to, that's gonna be it for me here. But if you guys would like to see more of me or hear me talk more about random things, or just watch my gameplay, since obviously I was not playing here, yeah, you can check me out at twitch.tv/FakerExtra. That is twitch.tv/FakeEAurXRA. I can stream Pixelmon, Trove. I stream, what else? Overwatch, which I have peaked top 500. And there's Bip showing off his excitement. Very good showing from him. Very proud of the boy. And I also stream Valorant, which I am a competitive player for currently. And I am an informative player as well as just a meme player. So come by, say hi, and hang out. Yeah. Hopefully I'll see you guys will hear my voice again. And if you do want to hear more from me or more from these players, all the amazing players, I would recommend coming to the Discord. If you just want to watch the gameplays of this tournament and just see how the course goes, I recommend subscribing and slamming that like button and turn notifications on. Very cringy things, but it has to be said because YouTube algorithm is kind of cringe. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and thank you to Alex and JJ for having me. And yeah, that was a good game from both Bip and Crown.